Alright, ladies and gentlemen, is Ridley Scott developing a new Alien film? That's the headline that you've probably seen banded around. There's quite a bit of it, actually. You'll see that headline, everywhere. I don't think so. There was a new article, an editorial. It was about Ridley Scott's Scott-Free production company, and it was on The Hollywood Reporter. This is just a quick excerpt over on AVP Galaxy, but if we go to the actual, the article itself, the editorial here, it's all about Scott-Free as a producer. Okay? So inside Ridley Scott's producing empire. So, it's important to bear that in mind as we go through and answer the question, is Ridley Scott actually making his own Alien film? Because that's what a lot of people think that he's doing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, no, I don't think that is the case. And this isn't, because I don't want him to. I would like him to finish his prequel story, genuinely. Only because I don't like stories being open. I like there to be a conclusion, and that is a story which needed an end. So don't take this as mindless hate. It isn't. This is not mindless hate at all. I just don't think this is him doing the his movie, basically. So I thought we'd take a look at this first. This is the article. Okay. And it's important to note this was done before the recent reveal that we're getting an Alien Romulus sequel. Okay? But let's take a look at what they say. They just pulled the excerpts here on AVP Galaxy. So Scott praised his long-time relationship with 20th Century Studios. So it says, Scott's long-time track record with 20th, now owned by Disney, isn't an accident. The director's first hit, 1979's Alien, was at the studio. And he's been loyal to the company through many upheavals over the decades. Quote, I think I've done 13 films for Fox, which may be the highest number any director has done for a studio. It's a bit like opening a restaurant. When they pay your overhead, you better eat there every night. I eat at my table every night with Fox. I think that's why I've been valuable to them. You win some, you lose some. But overall, they have been rewarded for what I do. And that is true. That's arguably true. So it says here, riding high off the success of Alien Romulus and also producing next year's FX Alien Earth series from showrunner Noah Hawley, Scott isn't slowing down as a filmmaker and producer. A sequel to his 2000 blockbuster Best Picture winner Gladiator releases next month. So they add a little bit of that. But it says here, a snippet of the editorial caught the eye in which Scott told THR that he's developing a new Alien film. I don't think he is. So it says this, Scott also revealed he's developing a new Alien film for 20th in the wake of Romulus' success, plus a Battle for Britain film being written by Joe Penhall, as well as the previously announced thriller Bomb for Kevin McMullen. So, and that is, we scroll all the way down through all of this. And there was some interesting stuff here as well. Just as an FYI, what he says here. For Alien Romulus, Scott saw his role as a helpful guiding force for director Fede Alvarez, who in a recent interview said Scott suggested making cuts to an early edit of the film that made him kick the wall. Then Alvarez realised Scott's ideas were right and made them. So again, this is all from a production point of view. And he said the following, I can sniff out something that's maybe too intellectual or not intellectual enough. Knowing the extremes is partly my job, also knowing when something is too long or too complex. That's where I come in as a producer. Note the wording. Really as an editor in that respect. I'm always respectful of the director, and if you're respectful, they'll listen to you. Right, so that's important. The wording, what he's talking about, he's talking all about production. And he even says it here. One sore spot for Scott and his team is their lack of ownership in the Alien and Blade Runner franchises. Scott and his team. Something the director blames on some of the company's previous management. Scott-Free has to re-earn its spot on the team whenever a new sequel or prequel is explored. Quote, I should have locked them up, as Steven Spielberg did with Jurassic and everything he does, and James Cameron has done with what he has. I resurrected a dead Alien franchise with Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and we should have rejoined the ownership right then, and we didn't because someone was careless. He's talking about his team as producers, right? And again, that's the same thing. Talking about here, being on board as a producer. He's got to earn their spot back every time there's something new announced. Okay, got to re-earn the spot on the team as a producer. And it even says here, you know, Brown adds that it's... So there's other people here, other producers at Scott-Free. Brown adds that it's incumbent upon his team to ensure Scott-Free stays involved in the director's legacy titles. It would make no sense that another movie is made without Ridley and us, he says, of the future and of Alien and Blade Runner. Sure, fine, whatever. So talking all about producing. All about that. All about it. So when we scroll all the way down, right? As we get to it here. Here we have. Scott also revealed that he's blah, 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 working on a new Alien movie. He's not. Well, he is, but he's not. Not in the way that I think it's been reported. Now, I don't know if that is the case. But if this whole article is from the perspective of producer, this probably precedes the recent report from Steve Asbell revealing that there was a sequel to Alien Romulus in the works. And so if this precedes that, then the logic is that actually what he's talking about is that sequel. That's what I would imagine he's talking about. Now, would I like him to finish his movies? Yeah, absolutely. It says this story appeared in the October 30th issue of the Hollywood Reporter magazine. Blah, blah, blah. Click here to subscribe. So this has been long in the works. And that previous interview with Steve Asbell was like a really recent thing. It was like a pretty, you know, current, up-to-date thing. It wasn't like a, you know, it was like it was breaking news, wasn't it? Basically. So I'm going to go on a limb and say Ridley Scott isn't making his own Alien movie, although some would argue he is because he's going to, you know, be the decision maker on stuff. But I would imagine what it is that actually he's producing it. He's producing what he's talking about here is the production of the Alien Romulus sequel. And AVP Galaxy kind of confirms, you know, they have a similar train of thought that I do. While Scott may simply be referring to returning to produce a sequel to Alien Romulus from director Fede Alvarez, recently mentioned by studio head Steve Asbell, as in being in talks. Oh, just as an FYI, that's confirmed as well now. I think Fede Alvarez has actually signed that deal, by the way. We have to wonder if perhaps this is another project entirely. I don't think so. I think this is just from the perspective of producer, and he's just being a producer. And again, look, I'd like him to do another one. Yeah, and like Greyback Elder, like so many on these message boards, I believe it's probably just Romulus 2 he's producing. However, I'd not be opposed to him finishing his prequels. Yeah. I think it is just that. But I'd be keen for him to at least finish his prequels. Just give him one more film. That's what I would say. But yeah, there you go. What do you guys think? Love to hear your thoughts. Ridley Scott new Alien movie. I think it's just the Alien Romulus sequel. But what do you guys think? Again, remember the whole article is from a producing perspective. It's about his company, a production company. Inside his production company. And also, just as an FYI, Ridley Scott was photographed September 19th at the West Hollywood headquarters of Scott-Free. So that's where it was. That's what he was doing. September. So this is way before the Steve Asbell interview. So yeah, love to hear your thoughts. Drop it down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.